Imagine this, you've been unemployed for 1 year. You have 5,000 euros left in your bank account and only 1 to 2 months of expenses left. You've been applying for jobs for months. Your email inbox contains hundreds of rejection letters. And then one day you finally get an offer. But it's not that great. They're offering you way less than the last job. You have to work from the office every day, which is 1 hour away. It's super corporate, so you have to clock in, clock out. You don't care about the industry, you don't care about the product, and they give you 2 days to decide. Would you take the job? Of course you take the job. Not only that, you probably feel excited. You tell yourself, finally, I got a job offer. This is actually pretty good. And then 3 months later, you hate your life. You're commuting hours every day, working a job you don't care about just to pay your bills. Now, here's the thing. This is exactly what a lot of men do in dating. They go months without dating anyone, or they go on a few dates with girls they're not really into. They meet a girl who's okay, maybe she's attractive, but she's boring or superficial or expects you to do everything. And then you tell yourself, well, at least she's attractive. At least I'm dating someone. So you settle. And then months later, years later, you start hating the relationship, and then you start hating your life. The real problem here is neediness, which is actually a self-reinforcing negative loop. You start with very few options, and then you become more needy, and that needy energy gives you even less options, and eventually you settle, and when you settle, you start hating your life. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine you had 10 job offers. Are you taking that initial corporate job with less pay and hours of commute? Of course not, because you have way more options. Same thing with women. If you're dating 10 different women, you're not going to commit to the first one who shows interest if you don't really like her. Now, a lot of guys say they don't want to date multiple women by saying, well, I don't want hookups, I want something serious. But dude, who said anything about hookups? You can date multiple women with the intention of choosing one. That doesn't make you unserious. If anything, it means you're really committed to choosing the best option, so you don't want to pick it lightly. So the truth is, a lot of guys say this as a coping mechanism. It's easier to say, well, I don't want to date multiple women than to admit, well, I don't really know how to get multiple options. So how do you fix this? Well, if you want to stop being needy, you're going to need options. And to get options, there are two things you need to do. Number one is you need to decide, I will not settle. I will not accept scraps, and I'm going to develop these skills needed so I can actually choose, because that's all it is, a skill. And then you need number two, which is build the skills to attract women, because once you have that skill set, you get options, and once you have options, you stop being needy, and once you're not needy, you stop settling. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how do I start? Where do I build these skills? Well, if you want to get more dates with women, you first need to have more conversations with women, and if you want to have more conversations, you need to be able to approach women, and that's where most guys get stuck. They don't approach because they're afraid. So they stay on apps or they do nothing. So your first step of getting options is getting over your approach anxiety. And if you want to learn how to do this, I made a video breaking down exactly how to do this step by step. If you want to watch it, click it here and it'll take you to that video.